All right. So uh, today I'm going to talk about transformation of education uh, that is being driven by market changes. Basically, the word transformation, has been it will rather sometimes overused to convey a variety of things. But today, what I'm going to talk about is the way the colleges have to be run, and in a way that the education stays relevant. So, and the transformation of education happens due to so many factors, especially during this time of COVID-19. The COVID-19 crisis is actually going to rather speed up this transformation. But let's first have an overall look at the kind of forces that have been pushing for the last 5 to 10 years. If you see, by this illustration, there are three major factors causing a change in education. Education, like anything else in the market, is actually governed by demand and supply. But the forces that regulate or that control demand as well as supply is going to cause more and more transformation that we have already started seeing the last 5 to 7 years. So today I'm going to talk about three major forces. One is obviously the mindset of students. The other one, of course, the students are influenced by parents. And finally, the output of college is consumed by companies. So the combination of students, parents, and companies, how they influence education, we'll be, covering this in this session. Obviously, when you graduate, everyone who graduates, either they have to go for a job or start their own business. So businesses and companies cause a major transformation. They dictate what kind of students are needed. So the transformation cost by the companies is a very, very crucial factor. And when you look at the kind of transformation they are causing, obviously, innovation is one of the key factors creating a change in the way the education is run. Companies change very fast because of innovation. Prior to this, employees took a long time to get trained, and companies didn't mind. But today, companies suffer huge losses. When you have employees with legacy knowledge, when you have employees with certain skills that are not relevant for companies. So the pressure that is being mounted on companies because they have employees that are not up to date, they're going to demand from fresh graduates coming out of college. But the fact that companies are destroyed very frequently, every few years, companies are destroyed, new companies are created. If you go back like 10 or 20 years, or even 30, 40 years, an average lifetime of a company used to be several decades. But today, if you have a company that survives for 5 years, that's a great thing. The lifetime of a company is shrinking, and the major cause is actually innovation. When you have new businesses based on new business models, the existing companies will collapse. And when companies collapse very faster, what will happen? They will also displace employees. And another thing is that the new employees who join have to undergo much more pressure. They have to learn fast. In fact, more and more companies, they want employees who are productive from day one. 10 or 15 years ago, it used to be very simple. Like companies tolerated, large companies especially, they tolerated employees for 1 or 2 years to get trained. But today, they are forced because they cannot survive. They don't have the spare money to train employees. The next factor is obviously the impact of students. Today, there are more and more students who are able to find new ways of learning. When I say new ways of learning, it's not just going for courses. I'm not talking about students opting for private courses. This habit of going for private courses has been there for a long time. But the way students learn on their own through sheer experiences. Like, for example, they may learn from parents, they may learn from friends. They can just learn through their ecosystem, through their connections. So by the time they are put into a curriculum, they feel restless because they have already learned a lot through various channels. So what is being offered in curriculum, they feel that these extraordinary students, they feel that it's not sufficient for their future dreams and for their career. And if you look at the news globally, more and more students find placement even during school days. Companies source students for internships or some freelance work. And because of this impact, the students, they either find placement or they are able to create their own ventures. So this is creating a new pressure on colleges to transform. How do we satisfy such students? This is a global phenomenon. In India, some of you may think that such students are not in large numbers. But by the time we feel complacent in a span of another, say, 3 or 4 years, we might find more and more such students, especially because of this COVID-19. You can see that a lot of companies are opting for remote internships. So when people get remote internships, it becomes extremely easy for them to gain experience. Finally, the other factor influencing, obviously, the parents play a very important role. Parents are the foundation for the grooming of kids. Even in a country like India, globally, there is a huge increase in households having surplus savings. And in a state like Tamil Nadu, where, compared to other states, affluence is somewhat prevalent. So when parents have reached this stability in terms of income and savings, they really want kids to try all kinds of things. The kids are no longer under pressure to go for routine jobs. And the last couple of years, I find there has been an increase in the number of parents who support their kids for starting their own venture, or at least, try for freelancing. I would like to share, just before the start of lockdown, I had a couple of parents approaching me, telling me that their kids have a lot of spare time, that they need additional activity beyond college. One such parent has got a son who has just joined first year in college, and they just want their, the son to really try something. They have sent their son to all kinds of private training institutions. You know what has happened? This boy just got fed up and said, I'm not at all happy with what is being offered. For example, he joined one of the most reputed robotic courses in our country. And he was able to complete all the experiments so fast. And he wanted to go to the next level and innovate something. But he felt in a reputed training institution, such a support was not at all available. So this is a change in the mindset of parents. And because of the change in the mindset of parents, the kids also have a different mindset. All these things is creating a pressure that, we need to create something different in educational institutions. And it's a very global phenomenon. In fact, in Western countries, this pressure is even more higher. In India, whenever we talk about transformation, we talk about certain routine terms like, soft skills, employability, and all that. But the demand for transformation is in some other aspect, which I'm going to cover in my session. And one thing that I want to say is that during my session, I'm going to talk about some of my experiences, some of my real world experiences. Because when I convey certain points, I always want to really throw some stories about the experiences either I had undergone or the teams that I work with, the teams and companies, innovators and scientists and engineers who work with me. I would like to share those stories as well to validate some of the points given here, because you might find a lot of interesting stories and points written in books, but it's always better to think about certain stories that are real world like experiences. So when I deliver some of my thoughts, I really want to give some anecdotal evidence of how I experienced or people around me experienced, so that you can relate it to real life. Even though I talked about the market forces creating a pressure of transformation, there is always some resistance. I may not be able to talk about all the resistance, but I can just give a few examples. The new transformation that's happening or that is being forced upon in educational institutions will put more pressure for faculty. It is more work for the faculty and it is more learning for faculty. So this might make some of the faculty members to resist this change because it's a human tendency. Once we have worked, once we undergo a certain practice and culture, and if you want people to change frequently, it will cause resistance. This is going to create more additional tasks, rescheduling to faculty members as well. And not only that, it's not going to remain static. There will be a frequent change in the kind of tasks that's being given. But one thing I want to say is this last 3 months of lockdown and COVID-19 crisis is actually a lesson, because people have to start transforming on a daily basis. We have no other option. Whether it is a professional or whether it is a business owner, whether a person is a minister, everybody had to undergo this transformation because of this COVID-19 crisis. All of us, the last 3-4 months, we were forced to either work in a different way, be it in office or be it in home. For many, it was a huge culture shock. And considering the sufferings thrust upon us through this COVID-19, I think the transformation of education will be much easier. People have started accepting change. I'll give you one simple example. Today, when you talk about a government or a government department, we are all governed by rules. And out of the bodies that follow rules, that have to follow rules on a daily basis, it is the governmental organizations and government departments and ministries, where it's all rule all the time. We work based on rules. But startups, innovators don't work based on rules. I have been an innovator a startup entrepreneur for several decades, and I'm used to creating new rules very frequently, very periodically. But last 3-4 months, the lifestyle of every individual has become like a startup entrepreneur or an innovator, because every week we find we have to work for new rules. The rule that we framed last week no longer holds good. Take, for example, the process of identifying COVID-19 patients. Every week, the rule is different. And every week, the rule for isolation of COVID-19 patients is different. When you keep changing a rule, just imagine the pressure on all the employees and workers, be it healthcare workers or government department officers or the general public. Every day we read new rules and we have to change our lifestyle based on that. That's what this COVID-19 crisis has taught us. But for people like us who are startup innovators and accelerators, it has been our lifestyle for decades. This is nothing new for us. But one good thing, because of this lockdown, people are beginning to accept that you need to change frequently, learn new rules, apply new rules, and propagate the new rules across your organization, be it a private or a corporate or a governmental body or a ministry. So this resistance to transformation is actually reduced, probably because of this COVID-19 culture. So what is the best way to undergoing this transformation? All of us have to have some mental preparation. What I mean by mental preparation is we need to understand the forces that are creating these changes. For the benefit of people who joined very late, I'm talking about these forces. Understand these are the forces that are creating this change. Understand aspects of these forces that is creating a change in this thing. Understand each of these blocks. So that is the first step for our mental preparation. And as I said before, COVID-19 crisis has actually reduced people's resistance because we have been put on a do or die situations. I'm not talking about the death due to disease alone. This crisis is creating a great risk to lives, not just because of the disease alone, but because of things like economic crisis, joblessness. But mentally, people are becoming prepared for this because we don't have a choice. And this COVID-19 crisis has really demonstrated it will destroy people and organizations who resist change. The only way you can survive is accept this change and act and bring in transformation. So for the benefit of people who came late, I'm showing this diagram, the market forces, and the most of my session will revolve around this. These are the three forces that bring in a change in education. And what I'm going to talk will revolve around this area. So now, even though you might ask, some of you will accept, but still you may have a doubt. What is the proof? I've been saying that it has been happening for a few years, but some of you might have realized recently, and some of you may object. What real transformation beyond COVID-19 crisis? What real transformation is actually enforced upon education? Simple fact is, there is plenty of evidence about the transformation. I'll just show some proof. This is the news that came during August 2018. It was reported in all leading magazines, TV channels, and newspapers across the globe. You can search in Google. Very simple. Many of the leading companies like Google, Apple, they revealed that they accept employees at a higher level, even if they don't have a college degree. So this is a practice that's happening in pockets. I'm not saying that it is happening in a pervasive manner. It may happen in isolated hotspots here and there. But the fact is, It's prevalent in many parts of the globe, maybe in India to a limited extent. I can even show the list of some of these companies who are in the top Fortune 500 list. All these companies are billions of dollars, if not trillions of dollars in market capitalization. So they have been following this practice in a limited form for certain positions. They accept certain number of people who don't have college degree, but they do have a screening process for this. So as you can see, Google, Ernst & Young, Apple, IBM, and some of the big retail companies in Western nations like US and Europe, Hilton, Starbucks, Bank of America, Costco. Costco is a huge retail outlet like Walmart or Reliance. Home Depot is also a huge, retail chain store, and various, publishing houses like Penguin. So this has been featured in magazines several times, but 2 years ago it was featured extensively in leading magazines. Now you may ask, it's been already talked about. You might be seeing this very often. These are the well-known solutions that will, handle all the transformation in educational institutions. In fact, for several decades, in the name of improving communication skills for students, a lot of educational institutions have been conducting programs very frequently. And we have a lot of skill development centers and, centers of excellence. And all these things will lead to employability of students. That's what is being talked about. And some implementation have happened over the last, say, 10 or 15 years. But what is the output? Is the industry and society happy with this? Is this sufficient? Whatever that it is mentioned here, even though it is talked about very frequently, has it created enough impact in the employability and also in the economic benefit to the society? The fact is, we still hear the same news that industry is not happy with what is happening in educational institutions. We can't blame them because there are reasons. There are reasons that we will see in the coming slides. For example, whenever we had a lot of skilling programs, the companies have started saying that still the skill requirements have changed, that we want something else. We need more than what is being offered in skill development centers. In fact, with all the skill development centers, even though skills have been imported, there are also new industries coming up saying that our requirements are not yet fulfilled. And today, after the skill development activities have happened, companies have started saying that we want people with both skills and good attitude. So the requirement is always changing. No matter what transformation is happening, the need from the industry is changing very fast. And the definition is also changing. What I mean by definition is, let us take the term communication skills. 20 years ago, what we meant by communication skill is drastically different from what is being expected out of the industry today. It's very easy, to define communication skill is something. Some of the people, some of the trainers, they assume communication skill is just about communicating very well in English. But the industry will say that we need people who understand technology and skills, people who acquire technical skills and use those technical skills and combine it with their communication expertise. So the requirement keeps changing. The definition also, it is undergoing a lot of transformation, which some of which I'll also explain with certain examples. One thing that we see in the last 2-3 years, a lot of draft policies, recommendations have been framed by AICT and UGC. In fact, as part of my own journey since 2015 and 16, last 5 years, I've been interacting with various officials at AICTE. I've been involved in certain programs conducted by AICTE in Chennai and New Delhi to convey the importance of internship programs. Some 6-7 years ago, moment people said internship, the expectations from the educational institutions as well as from the students was like internship meant getting some stipend. But what did the company say? Globally, when you look at it, there are more vacancies for unpaid internship. In terms of expectations from companies, internships meant an activity where a student comes to a company and starts learning something. The student learns certain aspects of companies and starts contributing with the knowledge as a candidate has gained. But unfortunately, from the student side, earlier the expectation was, I'll go for internship if I get good stipend. This used to be the expectation, but luckily today, the transformation has happened to at least for students in major institutions. Maybe in the rural areas, this transformation has not yet happened. But the important thing is the expectation of companies. The word internship meant something like an orientation program, where by staying in a work environment, a student starts learning. It's like a training program. And the benefit the student provides to a company may or may not happen. So if a student is able to provide substantial benefit to the company, then student will be paid a stipend. Otherwise, in many cases, student may have to spend money and to offset for the expenses incurred in the company. So this is a recommendation that UGC and AICT has framed. And I work with the AICT to convey this to the AICT and HRD ministry for a couple of years by sharing a lot of stories about the problems faced in several companies that they would be willing to provide either good experience and training to students, or they would be willing to provide some stipend if the productivity is high. And today, a lot of institutions have started framing a rule that if a student is involved in quality internships or projects, or if the student is pursuing a own venture, a student can skip classes. In fact, in some places, students are allowed or given credits. They can skip even exams, but they get credits if they do some quality work in terms of internships or startups. So this is a very vital transformation that is happening. So instead of getting scores or credits through sheer examinations or written tests, a student can graduate by working on good quality projects or creating own startups. So if they undergo this process, students can skip exams. So this is a very new formulation that it has started happening in certain places in the world. But personally, I've been pushing for this change. In fact, for several decades, even that practice even before this kind of practice started in any part of the world. So, but today the world is feeling the pressure that this is needed. In fact, if you look at all the the crises that has happened in terms of pandemics and epidemics, the lockdown, the recovery from the lockdown can happen only in a phased manner. And when students are locked in their homes, you cannot always tell them to listen classes through Zoom. So, but when you have more internship and project activity, that could probably add better value, and probably mechanisms can be developed. And I would probably give some examples what mechanisms we can do, we can create, so that credits can be given to students who do quality internships and projects or do some work towards creation of own startups. And many of the faculty members would be familiar with this area. Whenever there is a conference related to collaboration between industry and educational institutions, this implementation issues have been often discussed. In fact, I would call it a battle where both educational institutions and corporates and enterprises, they start accusing each other. The first complaint would be like, companies don't have time and resources to provide internship to all students. This is a real burning problem, because even though I keep saying that the internships would be, increasing internship, I lobbied for this cause. But the big complaint is we don't have enough companies who can spend time and money, because companies have other jobs to do. They can, today, a large country like India with millions of students, just imagine, is it possible to accommodate millions of students for internship across all companies? In fact, because of this COVID-19 crisis, companies will have even lesser time to entertain these kind of activities. And we know that for a long, long time, every course, there is always a period for doing projects. But even today, despite all this curriculum changes, majority of them are doing fake projects. Even though you find a lot of people advertising saying that, we offer real-time projects, it's still, I would say that it's a very much an abused term. In the name of real-time projects, still fake projects are very, very rampant across the country. The biggest challenge to this is, obviously, there is a real reason behind this. India is a very complicated country. We have students from different backgrounds, from different strata of the society. And we cannot offer a same set of activities and training programs, because the learning capabilities of each student is extremely different. The learning curve is not the same. And we have a huge variety in our country. At least in written examinations, you have some ways to offset that by continuously reading and reading. But internship is practice-based, where you have to involve the time of precious time of and resources of companies. So companies cannot tolerate student interns who are slow or who cannot pick up. So because of this, internships activities and project activities cannot be streamlined very easily across our country. Whereas in rich nations, they don't have the problem. The quality of training is almost uniform. Even though the differences are there, it is not as varied as it prevails in our country. As I said before, today, the entire world is accepting a new trend. Obviously, the remote internships were prevalent before, but this COVID-19 crisis, because the entire world has been in lockdown for a long, long time, they are going to create more opportunities through remote internships. Even though it's going to be a very difficult challenge, but we don't have a choice. And in recent times, there has been a lot of announcements where new project opportunities are created so that students can collaborate with companies. This trend is going to increase further because of this COVID-19 crisis. And this work from home culture, even though work from home culture can be easily implemented for experienced people, for fresh graduates, it's a very, very difficult thing. However, if students, if they undergo enough internship activity through the collaborations of faculty members and companies, students might become mature enough to suit this work from home model in a shorter span of time. So this transformation will help to make a transition for work from home culture. So when I said the various market forces that are pushing this work from home culture will also create a new pressure on the learning style. Because when I say work from home, it looks simple. But people with 5 to 10 years of experience, they can make a transition to work from home very easily. But if you have a fresh graduate, even if you put a person with face-to-face interactions, they take a long time to get oriented towards work culture. So this work from home is going to create a new demand for education institutions so that the students become mature enough. What is the mindset that we need so that the students can accommodate this culture of work from home is a separate topic by itself, because it requires a huge change in mindset change, which I may not be able to cover during this session. But I try to give some short anecdote as much as possible. Now, let us talk about, even though I talked about internship techniques, but for a developing country like India, we need to adapt a new style. In richer countries, students can easily gel into the workplace environment in a shorter span of time. But for our country, we need a more collaborative process. A lot of colleges have always been, searching for large enterprises, big companies to collaborate. But large established companies may not have time to conduct pilot projects and experiments with students, because big companies, they go by established rules. But it is only those innovation-driven mentors and startup accelerators who can actually collaborate with colleges. So far, internship activities have been, it's like, a faculty members will simply identify, or just when they conduct campus programs, and then they will just send the students to companies. But in the coming years, the faculty probably have to get involved as some part of the internship activity itself, so that they are able to monitor the students in a better way. The monitoring of students' progress, especially in the internship activity, should be done in collaboration with faculty members and companies, instead of direct monitoring of students by the enterprises. So what I mean is, for students to really fit into the workplace environment, or either become an entrepreneur, they need a bridge. The bridge is like, bridge should have certain qualities, which I will show in the subsequent slides. This bridging of students and companies should have to happen in a certain pattern. Today, the so-called bridging programs, they handle only certain aspects of bridging, which is grossly insufficient. But if the bridging entities have the qualities, especially like startup accelerators, you can see a real transformation in the mindset of students. The subsequent slide, I will just share about some qualities of this bridging activity. And many of these activities are based on experiences that I have undergone personally, and those companies across the globe had undergone. So it's not just shared from textbooks or material from certain research material, or what I'm going to share is based on some real world experiences that either I had undergone or people who work with me had undergone. One of the most important qualities of bridging is that, the bridge should understand an organization that acts as a bridge should understand the issues faced by the education as well as from the organizations or the enterprise side. The focus of education is obviously learning and research. And the focus of companies obviously will be on profits. So since both educational institutions and companies have different aspects of thinking, without a bridge that understand both qualities, it's very, very difficult to make this transition. And one should understand that both education and enterprise, they have a place in society. One should not blame. One should not blame that companies are focusing on profits. It is if the companies don't focus on profits, the entire globe will not survive. So it is meaningless to blame this policy. The job of a company is to make profit, that we need to accept that. Okay, in terms of internship, why I've been talking about internships for a long, long time. Basically, it's because I've handled interns for several decades. And when I say handling interns, many of the interns that I handle are like final year students or students who graduated very recently. But the kind of role the interns who worked under me, they were not given a namesake role. They were able to witness a process in which, as a founder of a company, that I was able to create certain award-winning products that was rated, for example, #1 by CNN. And they were able to witness a process where I was able to capture customers like NASA and US Department of Defense. And in recent times, the last 2-3 years, I've been able to work with interns from premium institutions like NITs and IITs, where a collaborative culture has been built that is continuing even during this lockdown period. For example, last year, I screened nearly 10,000 students from National Institute of Technology. Out of them, I handpicked 25 members. And today, out of those 25 members, 4 to 5 have been given leadership positions. They take care of handling other dozens of interns. So basically, it's like a train the trainers model. And the fact that these interns, they have brilliant academic qualities as well. And also they have the passion to pursue real world ventures. When I went to National Institute of Technology last year, my fear was that these guys would be too much focused on book, that they would not spend time outside the curriculum. Of course, that is true, because it's a large institution. Like when you handpick 10,000 students, most of them would be focused on books probably. But luckily, I was able to evolve a process to handpick some 25 members whose qualities were beyond books, beyond rote learning. So that was probably one of the reasons that I'm able to, carry on this bridging activity with these institutions. And let me talk about another quality, who can act as a bridge. The other quality is, which I mentioned, is innovation. The bridge should know and should have been a part of innovation. A bridging entity should have dealt with variety of companies, be it small or big. The reason why I say both, big companies, even though they are good, their qualities are not enough or not sufficient to deal with budding youngsters. They may not have time to, spare with the novices. A bridging organization should have experience in research, innovations, and also bidding, and also in building startups. Bridging entity should have an entrepreneurial mindset. What I mean is the people who work with the education institutions for bridging them to enterprise life should have had some experience running their own ventures. Again, I would like to share my personal case study about from the innovations side. The fact that I got used to this innovation world as early as 1995, when I was graduating, that God had helped me to create the world's first of its kind Java software, which I was able to sell across the globe. And in recent times, I've been spending more time, mentoring other award-winning startups. That's the reason I've renamed my organization as First World Accelerator. This is an example of my case study. I was mentoring these youngsters. As you can see, the most popular man in India from this photograph. The startup that I was mentoring was fortunate enough to get an award and a grant of 65 lakhs 2 years ago. So apart from being a startup myself, I made a transition in handholding and supporting other award-winning innovators and scientists. So the people that you see they have done PhD from Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, and I've been mentoring them for 3 years. If you want to really see how these people have reached this stage, in fact, these two innovators, I've been mentoring them. I've seen them struggle. In fact, they gave away a free trial of their product to 400 government departments across the country. So it took more than 2 years for them to get more recognition like this. As you can see, the team members, they were from a very low-key background. They approached me 4 years ago. They innovated a product to purify wastewater, and now they have been winning awards. This is the screen that you see is actually a part of the annual report that was sent to both Ratan Tata Foundation and the state government. And I want to talk about another important quality for an organization to act as a bridge between students and corporate life. The bridging entity should have international exposure. The bridging organization should have the capability to build international collaborations. And also, the bridging entity should have an established track record in building new business models that can work across borders. The reason why I'm focusing so much on the international side is that still India is a country that would have to depend on huge overseas income. As you can see, our rupee has weakened beyond 75 and 76 rupees. So we need to build more income outside our country as well. The photograph that you see is the British person that you see in the photograph with me is actually an advisor to a foundation in UK that was actually run by Queen Elizabeth and Prince George. They provide awards and to a variety of startups in India as well. This is a photograph that was taken when they came down to Chennai. I took them to one of the award-winning startups that I've been mentoring them. That is it's a food startup focused on healthcare and millet food. The photograph that you see in the background is millet cookies, which the British advisor was happy to taste when he came down to Chennai. So we keep building such kind of international collaborations so that the youngsters that we nurture are able to scale up to a large extent. This is a photograph for one of the programs conducted by DST, Department of Science and Technology, in which we had some 100 speakers from Italy and some 20 speakers. I was one of the speakers who interacted with entrepreneurs and scientists from Europe. This is the program that happened during October 2 years ago, and it was the joint collaboration between India and Italy. And as you can see, most of the speakers were from Italy, and some of the speakers, including me, was from India. Just few months ago, before this COVID-19 crisis started, I was in Japan. So I identified some of the leading biotech companies and also an association that was leading all the farmers, organic farmers in Japan. They control the gentleman that you see beside me. They were actually the leaders of the organic farmers associations in Japan. So we learned, the kind of frameworks for organic farmings that could help India save its soil from contamination. And hopefully, I would like to bring in more collaborations from Japan to educational institutions in India as well through these channels. The other gentleman that you see here is a very flourishing startup who got millions of dollars as rewards, as grants in Japan. So I met them in Tokyo. They are a company that are planning to manufacture mobile phones. And we are already testing their smartphones. the beauty of their smartphone is that their smartphones are so cheap so that even the poorest in India can buy even as low as 2,000 or 3,000 rupees. So I've built up a collaborations so that, some of these works related to smartphone design and manufacturing can be done in India. So there will be plenty of opportunities for students in India to collaborate on this venture as well. The gentleman that you see is an Australian, and the device that you see is actually a fuel cell. Using this fuel cell, you can drive an entire truck or a bus that wouldn't need any diesel or solar power. So fuel cell by 2040, the entire world will be using fuel cells. We may not have, even solar will become a minority energy provider. So we have plenty of opportunities in this technology as well. And in the year 2015, I spoke to a lot of government officials. This is a photograph that was taken in Sydney in 2015. And because of this talk which I had with the Australian government, today it is possible for a fresh graduate to get a visa to enter Australia without getting any admission or a job offer. So this is this is a new business model by itself, which I can talk as a separate topic some other day. So I'm almost coming to the end of the presentation. So I want to just give one important point. This is a comment or a research output from a person named Francis Fukuyama, who has been an advisor to various presidents in the US. He did a research across the globe in different countries. You know what he said? He compared the situation in rich countries and poor countries or less rich countries. And he said, in prosperous countries, business relationship between people can be conducted informally and flexibly on the basis of trust. What it means is that in rich countries, they don't wait for rules. They are able to build relationship and start working based on trust. So in our country, we are a rule-based economy, but that is not enough. When you want to really build new business models, new flourishing startups in large volumes, in India, we have startups, but that's not sufficient because, as you can see, our currency has to get richer. We need to create more jobs. For that, we need people in the leadership positions to act informal. So this is the point I'm trying to convey. And another point I want to convey to these, especially when you want to develop internship activities. When you fix a goal that you want to do a project or something, you need to break it down into small goals. As a bridging entity in First World Accelerator, what we do is, large companies, they talk about big goals, but students cannot fulfill or achieve those big goals because, after all, young bloods are just new to the world. They are like babies. But as a bridging entity, as in First World Accelerator, we split big requirements of governments and big companies into small modules and small goals and put students through these activities so that they don't feel the pain that they have to do a big task from day one. If you give them a big task from day one, you know what's going to happen? This is what they're going to face. They're just going to get drained. So it is very important that you break down your challenges and tasks into small modules so that, you will be able to achieve the final milestone. So that has to be incorporated into our education. And it has to be evolved on a daily basis. So this is what I'd like to, I just want to give a quick summary. So based on the experiences that I've shared with you, my personal experience and companies that I've collaborated with, we are creating large number of pilot projects that would feed huge number of interns over a period of time in our organization's First World Accelerator. And in each of these projects, we will involve multiple companies, multiple types of people, scientists, and people from different backgrounds and technologies, so that it becomes a multidisciplinary activity for people involved in it. And since we need to reach a huge scale, we follow a very layered approach, like train the trainers, so that the entire, it flows like a river till it reaches at the bottom layer. The disciplines that we covered, some of the disciplines that we covered during the internship activities are like, healthcare, sanitation, agriculture, automation, robotics, cloud computing, artificial intelligence, machine learning, management skills, marketing, nanotechnology, construction and building materials, to name some of them. So I'd like to wrap up this, but before I wrap up, I just want to share a URL. I want to share a quiz so that, I'm able to get an idea that people have got it's just a 4-minute quiz, which I will share the screen. I'll share the URL over the chat window. So I've shared the URL, it's just, you just need to fill in 4 questions. Just answer them. So while answering those questions, it's all very straightforward based on the what is covered in the session. So I can see some 10 people have answered.
ஹைட் சரியா இருக்கா? நம்ம பார்க்க முடியாதா?
So people who have answered, if they have any queries.
Shall we wind up this session, sir?
Yeah, I've got, can we wait for another 2 minutes? Just.
Okay, sir. Okay,
yeah.
okay. Sir.
So I got 20 responses so far.
Okay. We'll ask them to submit it to you, sir.
Okay, fine. So I think anytime, in the next thing, so that
Yes,
it's all straightforward. So you can ask them to submit. I think I'll wind up the session.
Yes, sir.
Fine. Okay. Thanks for your listening to this.
And as a concluding remarks, we are already working in collaboration with the industry as far as the student internships are concerned, sir.
Okay.
And
wonderful.
now we have understood its need, and we'll accelerate it further.
Wonderful.
And including myself, I hope many of us would have been inspired by your words.
Wonderful.
And your session has led the teaching fraternity deeper into the role of innovators with entrepreneurial experience and knowledge, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for making your time in your busy schedule, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
They want to post the link in WhatsApp, ma'am. WhatsApp, we'll just post it.
Okay, ma'am. Prasanna, have you made Natarajan sir as a co-host?
No, ma'am.
Please make him as a co-host. Okay, fine. Can you check with him? His video is visible. I did mute him. You can unmute him. He's there? Sir is there?
Yeah, he has been made as co-host, ma'am.
Okay. Can you start the session? Ma'am, can you check with sir, ma'am?
Sir, Natarajan sir.
Hello. Good afternoon, Dr.
Sir,
Nathan.
Are you able?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Am I audible?
Very much.
Yes, sir. You're audible, sir.
But video is not coming.
Video is not coming. Prasanna, can you help sir? Prasanna?
Sure, ma'am.
Is it visible, Prasanna? No.
No, ma'am. There is something problem with sir side, ma'am.
Oh,
Okay.
The video option is enabled, ma'am, but the video is not visible.
Ah,
let me say okay then. Video on the camera. Hello.
yes, sir.
Yeah, could you hear me, ma'am?
Very much.
But audio is there, but not video. From my
Okay.
side, it's okay.
Okay.
Ma'am, if sir has some slides, he can share it, right?
I don't have any slides.
It's
Okay.
there is no slide. It's just external talk.
Okay.
Can we start?
Yeah. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, shall I start
Sir. Okay. 2 minutes.
without video?
Is it okay, ma'am?
Okay. There is no other go.
There's no other way. Okay. Okay. So,
Earlier it was like that for Dr. Babu. When he began the session, there was no.
Samuel session. Initially, there was no video, no, ma'am. Samuel's session.
No, even the previous session.
Parameshwar Babu. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. We'll start and then you see whether it can be connected later.
Everything will be done.
Yes, ma'am, you can.
Okay. So, good afternoon, participants. We had a 2-day sessions on discussing online teaching, importance of ICT. But we, as a teacher, I think every one of us have a question: is that these technologies could replace the role of a teacher? So I think I could give you, I could hear many my voice saying yes. So we have a question whether these ICT can replace the role of a teacher. So we have an eminent professor, Dr. U. Nadarajan, Vice Principal, GTN College, Dindikal, to discuss on this. He has been a mentor and motivator for 3 generations of students and motivator for many teachers. I'm very proud to say I was blessed to have an opportunity to be mentored by him. Thank you, sir. Adding mark to his journey, he was a sincere NSS officer for 20 years, known for his discipline and involvement in NSS activities. And he has involved himself in Rotaract and many other social activities. He has been a part of many international, national conferences, and he has made n number of publications as a teacher. Thank you, Professor Sir, for being with us, and over to you, sir. Thank you.
Very good afternoon, Dr. Priyadarshini, Dr. Lakshmi, and all the participants. At the outset, let me thank Tagore Engineering College for having come out with a very relevant. Am I audible?
You're audible and your video is also visible.
Okay. But I'm not able to hear myself. Okay. So it's a very relevant topic you have chosen. Absolutely, because we are all struggling under the devastating impact of COVID-19. So now I would like to rather share my joy for being with the fellow teachers. Earlier, Dr. Parameswar Babu was talking, a high-profile intellectual, but I'm just a teacher like you. I love spending time with teachers. I love spending time with my student friends. My focus would be to say that even in the present context, we have got a responsible role to play. We must be ready to face any sort of challenges that are waiting for us. We must have the grit to overcome the challenges, and we are capable of it. And sure, as teaching community, we would adapt ourselves to the new challenges and we would overcome. Am I right? Am I audible? Am I with you? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. Now only I could hear my voice. Okay. Let me once again congratulate Tagore College for having chosen a very relevant topic at this crucial hour. My dear friends, you all know that the whole world is shattered. The entire globe is experiencing a very rude shock. We are not sure of what is going to happen. As Ratan Tata has said, every day when we wake up from the bed, we must thank God for being alive. That is the current situation. Now, in this context, how to motivate ourselves, how to proceed further, how to continue our journey. Every college is coming out with various sorts of seminars. Even in our college, it is almost 60 years old. I've been there for the past 35 years. Every day we are conducting so many webinars. So the teaching community is active even in this so-called imposed vacation. Though we are all locked down, we cannot be locked up. We are proceeding. Okay. Now, what's happening? Is it possible in India to go for complete this kind of e-teaching, e-learning in the present context? We must just think over it. As per the gross enrollment register in India, we call it as GRE, every year only 45% of the students go for higher education, especially in Tamil Nadu. The data differs in northern states. In certain states like Bihar, it is less than 25 or 22 or 23. So is it possible to go for this transition immediately at the pace in which we wanted the transition to be? Are we equipped with the necessary infrastructure? Are we having the necessary facilities? Are all the educational institutions ready for it? Every field, every field is shaken. Even multi-millionaires, they do not know what is going to happen. My dear friends, I often visit Mumbai. All the trains, the suburban trains will be fully loaded. We can't squeeze in without struggling or hustling around 100 people. Such city like Mumbai had seen so many setbacks, so many catastrophes. Huge flood would be there. Bomb explosion had been there. Bombay would not wait. Maybe for a day, it would take a holiday, to take a break. The very next day, you all remember, after the bomb explosion in Mumbai, series of bomb explosions, the second day, people started going to a working spot. Bombay is called the financial capital of India. This is the first time Bombay is locked down. In fact, I had wanted to see a Bombay, very calm, serene, standstill Mumbai. We are able to see only through media, but not in person. You cannot travel. What is going to happen? The trains have started running, but with few people. The buses are going to ply, but few people. The malls, we are not sure of their fate. Hotels, you could get only bars. So this is the current scenario. The IT sector, places like Madras, lakhs and lakhs of youngsters are working in the software. Now, the companies have preferred, they have asked their staff to work at home. Millions of youngsters are working from their homes. But what happened to the subsectors? People who are supporting them through transport, food, malls, what would they do? If the people are not coming out, if the people are not going to spend their money, what will they do? The worst affected area is transport and tourism. In Kerala, you remember, in 3 months, they have lost 20,000 crores. And health tourism alone, they have lost 8,000 crores. This is the harsh reality. Now, as a teacher, as a teaching community, what are the problems we are going to face? On the one side, pressure coming up. People say that we must move to the digital learning, digital teaching, e-preparation, e-learning, e-teaching, conducting exams through online. This is going to happen. But how far we are prepared for that? We have to think about it. Now, I tell you, is technology a substitute for a good teacher? Can it be? Can it replace a good teacher? Is it possible? On the one side, this is the harsh reality in Tamil Nadu. It cannot be a proper substitute. It cannot replace a good teacher. But at the same time, a good teacher has to update himself regarding the technology. He must learn how to use the tools. He must update his knowledge. He must update what is happening all over the world. Now, in the educational scenario, the stakeholders, who are the stakeholders? On the one side, the students. On the other side, the teachers. On the other side, we got the management or the government. Now, all the managements have got very good buildings. I know about Tagore College, very good infrastructure you have got. Very committed teaching fraternity in Tagore College. Now, the same Tagore College is properly equipped to handle classes through online. Even if the college is ready, are the students prepared? What the government is going to do? What we are going to do? So the transition definitely will take some time. It is not immediate, but we must be on the move. Definitely, it will take time. But I want to give a reminder. You all know about Steve Jobs, CEO of Apple industry. He has got 43 international schools for the children. And the moment a child is admitted in the school, the child will be given an iPad. Every year they are spending $75 million for procuring iPads for the children. They worked for a few years. There is a school in Netherlands, Amsterdam. But the method of teaching is different. Even the teacher is not called as a teacher, is called a coach in Steve Jobs School in Netherlands. And there is no regular teaching hours. The child can work at home. The child can come to school. The child can easily bunk the class. But the child will be monitored what he or she is doing. But after a few years, they realized it has not worked out. It was a failure. The school run by Steve Jobs in Amsterdam, Netherlands, is not a successful one. They have reverted to the old pattern. This is the harsh reality. Now, are we going to ape what is being practiced by, or what has been practiced by Steve Jobs? Is that possible in India? Remember, this COVID-19 has forced ordinary workers, skilled laborers, to poverty-stricken citizens. Millions of hundreds and a million rather, 200 or 300, 400, the statistics differ. It has created 400 million people who suffer under poverty. Auto rickshaw people, they are not working. Street vendors, they are not working. Bus conductors and drivers, they are not paid. This is the situation. So how will our students pay fee when they come to us? When we start running the college, how will they pay the fee? What is the government going to do? What is our management going to do? So these are the questions before us. But anyhow, there is a popular saying in the military, when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. You should understand that. Life has become very difficult. Life has become very tough. Only when you become tough, you can face the situation. You can overcome the challenges. For a positive mind person, a challenge is before him. It is not a threat. Whatever the difficult situation, it is an opportunity for him to overcome. It is an opportunity for him to come out with his mettle, to prove his grit. That is what a good teacher should think. By the way, if at all we go digital, if at all we have decided all the teachings, all the activities must be carried. There are so many good aspects, positive aspects. We don't use notebooks. It is an environmental friendly activities. But how far our students are able to have good connectivity at homes? The Tamil Nadu government is coming out with free laptops. Are our children using them properly? Or we as teachers enable them to use it properly? But that is one side. Hereafter, at least we must plan. They have the resource materials like laptop. They have to prepare. There are colleges, even during the vacation, they have started preparing e-materials. The only thing is we have to disseminate, we have to supply, we have to share the knowledge that we have with our students. We have to motivate them. And the COVID-19 or the corona impact has widened the gap between the rich and the poor. We must be compassionate to the poor. We must help the poor students to come out. They are talented. They don't have the opportunities. They don't have the infrastructure at home. They don't have the rather high speed, this kind of net at home. What are they doing? How the college is going to help them? How the government is going to help them? If you think on those lines, it is possible for us to surmount the present crisis, maybe at a very shorter time, maybe in a year, maybe a year. But we have to embrace. But still, teachers should not lose their identity. Earlier, entrepreneur Dr. Babu was addressing. He has not come from the heaven. Definitely, he might have been molded by his teachers. Definitely, he might have been mentored by his teachers. Definitely, he might have been motivated or inspired by his teachers. Now, he is giving career. He is guiding so many people. He is, as a mentor, he has taken his words up to international level. And we teachers are also capable of doing that. Mere technology cannot replace the teachers, cannot be a substitute, but at the same time, it could be a supplement. It could be a complement to the good teacher. Nobody can replace it. See, in a classroom, even now, when I'm talking to my laptop, not the individuals. Had I been in my classroom, I would have eye contact with my students. My body language will be more effective when I am in a classroom. I tell you, as a teacher with 35 years of experience, classroom is the only place where a good teacher feels at home. Good teacher will feel at home. Good teacher will feel comfortable, because that is the place where he comes out with his intellectual ideas as a child. And whenever you go in for this kind of things, we go with a prepared speech. But in a classroom, whatever that is behind us, whatever at our past experience, anecdotes, case studies, they all would come. They all would come spontaneously as the situation demands. And when we share all those things to the students, definitely that will inspire them. Now, I request all of you to continue to be compassionate, to continue to be empathetic, to continue to be rather sympathetic towards your students. You just tell me, when I ask you to respond to my posture, tell me 2 teachers who have inspired you most. Definitely, maybe at your school, maybe at your college, maybe at your post-graduation, maybe at your research. Definitely people might have. I know how Dr. Maran helped in mentoring Priyadarshini. Now Priyadarshini is inspiring, Dr. Priyadarshini inspiring so many people. It's like a chain. So this is possible only with an ideal teacher. A good teacher must go well prepared. The smart generation, they are well informed. The problem of digital teaching is the resources are available for all. In the previous system, the teacher is the source of information. The classrooms were teacher-centered. Later it became knowledge-centered. We wanted to make the classroom as a student-centered one. But now we are all working for our OBE. You all know that. Now, from student-centered, it has become skill-centered. Mere dissemination of skill or imparting skill will not help. You have to enable the students, you have to train the students to apply their skills. That is what is expected. Not application of the skills they learn from us. You must make the students become more creative. You must make the students become more innovative. So that is what is expected from the industries. So the stakeholders in education is not only the management, not only the teachers, not only the students, but also the industries. Industries demand hands with skills. Industries demands resources with skills. But our classroom, as a teacher, we have to be rather very creative. Even in our teaching, we must encourage the students to become creative. We must encourage the students to become innovative. So we must give opportunities. A teacher can mold a student. I can quote umpty number of incidents in my life. Yeah. Mere look, comforting words, soothing words, just a pat would do miracles. Such things will not happen through digital learning. I can quote so many anecdotes. Dr. Priyadashini was referring to me as an NSS officer. No, I was an NCC officer for more than 20 years. This may be my 35th year in my college. I can quote so many incidents. I remember a boy hailing from an agricultural family who had no father. Two of his brothers were looking after his family. Both of them were employed, both of them were in army. So I happened to visit his home. The boy's brothers asked me how was my brother doing? How is my brother doing? Is he all right like that? He was studying BCom. He was my NCC cadet. The boy actually stopped attending the NCC parades for more than a couple of months or 3 months even. So when his brothers, who are very much interested in enrolling them in the army, they asked me about his career. I would have betrayed the boy, but I simply said he's quite all right. He's quite good. He's not only a good student academically, even all the cultural activities he take part with vigor. He gets prizes. He represents colleges like that. I gave all compliments about the boy without hiding the fact that he had discontinued from NCC. When I understood the zeal the brothers had, I had to divulge the fact that the boy is not regular for NCC. They appealed, requested me, beseeched me, sir, please take him back. So the boy came next day to my room. I said, your brothers are very ambitious. They're more concerned about the future than what you are. You don't have a father. You are capable. You are potential. You don't know your talents. So the next day onwards, the boy was regular and he completed his degree and he got his certificate. When I gave him his C certificate, I told him, this certificate will definitely help you. The teachers know. A good teacher knows what a person is capable. Sometimes whatever we say in the classroom, it's not a prophecy, but we would know. We have the ability to understand the talents in a student. After 3-4 years, I lost connection with the boy. Maybe 5-6 years. One day when I was traveling, he came to me. He just came and touched my feet. He asked me, do you remember me, sir? Very well. You are the same person, Alagar. Sir, I'm very happy, sir. I am what I am today. It's because of you. I said, what are you now? I'm a police officer now, sir. I'm with the Railway Police Force as an inspector. Glad. Sir, you know, only the certificate, NCC certificate, enabled me to get the job. When I attended the interview, they asked questions not about my BCom, not about my other experiences, only focused on my certificate and exam and NCC. I excelled my fellow participants in the interview and they gave me the appointment. So this is the situation. And again he said, sir, you have to forgive me for two things. One is I didn't inform you my joining the Railway Protection Police Force. Another thing, I got married. I failed to invite you. In fact, I came, I could not meet you like that. It's okay. My wishes are always there with you. The same boy, he gave me his phone number. And then I will be in Central Station. Whenever you happen to come down to Central Station, just call me, sir. So once regarding my research, I had to leave for Hyderabad. So morning I reached Chennai. I gave a call to this boy. He asked me by which train you are leaving, sir. I said Charminar. What is the coach number? He asked. I said, I forgot. I told him, if you are free, if you could make yourself free, you come there. No, sir, I'll try my best. Evening, when I went to the Central Station, my friend came and dropped me. Both of us were walking on the platform. Near the bogie, I saw some 5 or 6 people standing or waiting in khaki uniform. I thought some VIPs going to come there. That's why the people are assembled there. So when I reached the compartment, they all saluted me. I got surprised, taken aback. Then I could realize my student in his uniform. With him, there were some 3 or 4 constables. The moment I started talking to him, all the constables carried my luggages, put them into the compartment. One gave me some magazine, another gave me a bottle of mineral water. Some gave me some fruits like that. Every constable had something in his hand. So after a few minutes, the train departed. I was traveling, reading a magazine. In the whole compartment, nobody was talking to me for more than 20-30 minutes. After 3-4 hours, one elderly person from Andhra, he asked me, "Sir, are you a DAG or a SP like that?" "No, I'm just a teacher," I said. "But why so many people came and saluted? We are all very much afraid." "No, it's not like that. I'm just teacher. I was his mentor." So then they felt relaxed. So this is the respect enjoyed by a teacher. This is the reverence enjoyed by a teacher. If you do your job properly, every year you come across so many students. At least if there are 40 or 50 students in a classroom, at least 10 students will be inspired by you. Inspired by teacher A, inspired by teacher B. And at least 3 or 4 students will be very close with you even when they leave the campus. And at least 5 or 6 of every batch will become teachers like you. If you have the right attitude, if you have the positivism, if you have the empathy, if you have the sympathy, if you love the students, if you love your subject, if you go well prepared, if you present your presentation in a meaningful manner, empower the students. If you are capable of making every student understand and enjoy your subject, you will be worshipped, you will be revered, you will be remembered for all. So such phenomenon will not be there if we depend too much only on digital learning. This is what I wanted to convey. You know one thing, that boy later become the personal security officer of a very important political leader. I don't want to mention the name of the politician. Even now he is there. Even now, so many students are there. They are all over the world. They are all over. Though I worked in Horse College, our students have gone to Institute of Science. Many studied in Institute of Technology. Many studied in MIT, Chennai. Many had gone to Ahmedabad even. Many went to BITS Pilani. And they are all over the world. So they continue. I have a good network of students. In every continent, our students are there. So it's because I love my profession. I love my students. I take efforts to prepare. I ensure that every word I utter enters the minds of the students. I always am eager. I'm ready to ignite the fire in the student. Every student, whether irrespective of status, irrespective of gender, irrespective of family background, they are all potential. They are all capable. You must. Every person has got two sides. If you touch the right side, things will marvelous response you get. So as a teacher, I feel very happy for spending time with you. And there are so many points I would like to mention. This is a challenging time. One famous quote: "To strive, to seek, to fight, not to yield." So much of struggle is going on all over the world, but I believe in the power of the humanity. Man is capable of doing wonders. The world has seen so many havocs, so many catastrophes. When plague was there, people thought world would come to an end. It has not stopped. So COVID also we would follow. Will definitely be over. See, you should have teachers should have sensitive ears and eyes. You should watch what's happening around us. There are 3 or 4 incidents that were really made everyone feel positive about life, positive about human capability. Jyoti, a young girl, you all know that, she pedaled a cycle which she bought for 500 rupees, almost 1,200 kilometers. She just shifted her dad, who was at least twice or 3 times heavier than her. From Haryana, she came down to Bihar. That is the grit of Indian mind. That is the spirit of Indianism. The love we have got for the parents. A girl just 14 or 15 years old, she had the audacity, she had the courage, she had the will to travel using her cycle which she bought for just 500 rupees. And it was appreciated by Trump's daughter. And she has become an icon suddenly. The whole world appreciates her. From Delhi central government, the Cycling Federation, they asked her, come and join the course. But she said, no, I want to pursue my studies. That is one incident. In Telangana, a lady, a teacher, that too from a conservative Muslim family, she used her scooter. She traveled night and day to bring her son back. That is another incident. So these incidents prove that what we are capable of. In both cases, they're just revealed. Another incident, set of migrant laborers, they moved from one place to another in a truck. Two friends, they were traveling. Out of the two friends, one fell sick, was about to die. The two were offloaded. Even in military, if somebody is sick, somebody is going to die, the battalion, the company will not wait, they will move forward. Because suppose someone is going to lose life, the other team at least must go forward. That is the policy. In life, because of digital influence, if somebody dies, somebody is dying, we all have the tendency to have a photograph and we would publish it in the social media. But that boy preferred to stay back. He sat till the boy lost his breath. Very moving incident. Yet another incident from Belgium. A nonagenarian, 90 years old lady, she was treated. She was taken to the hospital for corona. And at one point, all other treatments failed. She was offered to take into the ICU where she will be kept in the ventilator. You know what that lady said? Her name is Susan. I am 93. I have seen the life. I have seen all sorts of pleasures. I have enjoyed life. My life is complete. If you are going to save me, it is of no use. At least use this ventilator for a young man or a young woman who is going to live for 50 or 60 more years. So like that, she sacrificed her life for the sake of an unknown individual. So this is the spirit of humanism. So even in the situation, we must be ready to help. So many people have come forward to help. They will want the help from the government, individuals, companies, industries, professionals. They all have done their maximum to save the situation. When Corona was there, Ratan Tata gave 175 crores. Not only that, the pride of India, this hotel, Star Hotel Chennai, Ashoka, he offered, let doctors and nurses come and stay in my hotel free of charge. Because when a doctor is attending the duty for 15 days, the doctor or the nurse are not supposed to go back home. They have to self-quarantine themselves. In every hospital, there were quarters. But he offered a place like Mumbai, let them stay as free guests. So this is the right gesture. So this is the spirit of humanism. This is the spirit of humanism. We must be ready to help. So this empathy must be there for a teacher more, because you are passing all these values to the students through your contact in the classroom, through your emotional rendition, through your body language, through your eye contact, through your communicative skills. And again, a good teacher should go well prepared. I told you, like that, you must also have effective communicative skills. If you are not able to communicate properly, however talented you are, will not be remembered by the students. If there are 50 students, one or two may follow you, others may. You must have a good. It is not God gifted. You can train yourself. You can train yourself. So with these points, I think I have taken much of your time. It's time for a lunch. I wish you all a great future. The situation is challenging. The transition has to be there, but the transition should not affect an ideal teacher. The transition should not in any way impair the presence of a good teacher in the classroom. Teacher is most important. A teacher and technology, they make wonders. A good teacher with good technology can transform the world. But depending too much on technology will not help us in any way. And especially to the Indian context, it is not possible, it is not feasible immediately. We have to go a long way, but still it is going to happen. It's going to happen. Governments should come forward, industries should come forward. As Dr. Babu said, industries must be ready to collaborate. Industries must be ready to take up as many students as possible. But for a country where millions and millions of students are studying, most of them are from the poverty background. How are you going to achieve that? It's $1 million question, but still we shall hope things will be far better. When in America, when Corona started, Trump said maximum 2 lakhs would be affected. Now it has crossed 14 lakhs, 15 lakhs, 16 lakhs, like that. It's going on. But India, we have got good medical facilities. Our doctors are doing wonderful service, especially in Tamil Nadu. The mortality rate is very minimal, and the recovery rate is also so high. It's all because of the commitment, dedication, and the system that is there in Moog, established by the governments, present government, previous government. We've got wonderful set of doctors. We've got wonderful network. Every village has got a primary health center where there are 2 or 3 doctors. So because of that, and also our people obliged. We are law-abiding citizens. The other things are there. Some negligence, some sort of irresponsible behavior is there. Because of that, only Madras is still suffering. Population also matters. Madras and Mumbai, they all suffer. But still, we have to kickstart our academic year. Maybe in June, if not in June, at least in July. We must be prepared. We must keep on growing. And one last concluding word is, every teacher, you should take yourself as your competitor. Every day you must grow. I am not what I was yesterday. I won't be what I am today. We must grow. We must gather information from all sources. We must gather knowledge from all sources. They must become part and parcel of our personality. When we talk, when we write, whatever knowledge is there behind us must come out. All with a single objective that we must improve the students. We are there because it's a noble profession. Nobody can say that I influenced hundreds of people. We can save even a doctor can save an individual, but inspiring, motivating somebody to look at the right perspective of life, to walk on the right path, to get the best out of him, enabling our students to excel themselves. It is possible only for a teacher to do that. So with all these words, I thank one and all. One last quotation: never let it rest till your good is better and better is best. Today you may be good, tomorrow you should be better. Day after tomorrow, the best in you must come out. So this drive should be there. This motto should be your driving force, and definitely you would excel. You would be loved by the students. You are going to be a great tool in transforming the world. Whatever may be the impact of Corona, let us continue our journey. All the very best. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I thank Dr. Priyadarshini, Dr. Lakshmi for having given me this opportunity. I thank Tabor College of Engineering for having chosen teachers to attend this webinar, because every teacher is an asset. You are going to stay in your career, you are going to influence and inspire hundreds and thousands of students in your life. All the very best. Regards to family, stay home, stay safe. All the best.
Thank you for a very
Thank you,
wonderful session. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. It was good to hear your experiences.
Thank you.
And surely we'll inspire and ignite good thinking and knowledge among the students and make them or mold them, in fact, as torchbearers of our nation, sir. Thank you, sir.
100 supercomputers cannot replace one teacher, madam. Lakshmi madam
Sure.
is greater than 100 supercomputers.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because you are emotional, you have the power to discrete, you have the power to empathize or sympathize. Okay. So you are greater than supercomputers. Even artificial intelligence cannot match an individual like you or
Human.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Nice time we had. Thank you.
Any question and answer sessions? Over to participants.
Hello.
Meera, Mathur, nice presentation, ma'am. No, ma'am. Okay.
This is Dr. Vasna Kumari.
Oh, good morning, madam. How are you, ma'am?
Yeah, I'm fine, sir. It's a fabulous week, sir, because
Thank-
practically you have, without any presentation, whatever, but still you were able to give the scenario, what is happening in India as well as the global scenario. It's a wonderful presentation. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for your inspiring words, madam. You are doing a great service, madam. I'm
Oh,
happy
thank
that
you,
you were with us following. Thank you so much, madam. Thank you.
Thanks, Jagur College, also for conducting such programs.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your feedback. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir, and team of Travel College. A very informative, a big series. Thank you for the wonderful session. Anybody else? Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Shall I
sir.
wind up? Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
And dear participants, apart from the feedback, we'll also be circulating another questionnaire, which is a part of our research. It is about Gen Next teaching and learning. You can circulate it among your students or your fellow colleagues and make the questionnaire filled up. And over to Priya, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. So thank you, Lakshmi, ma'am, and thank you, participants, for being with us for last 3 days. And you were all very interactive, and you all gave a very good feedback. Thank you for being with us. And the certificate link will be sent to you a day short. Yes, no, ma'am. We can send it today or tomorrow. Certificate
No, actually,
link.
certificate link, it is not the certificate link. Certificate itself will be sent by tomorrow
Certificate itself. Okay. Certificate will be sent
to
by
your
tomorrow
mail IDs.
to your respective mail IDs, and you please ensure that you have the same mail ID which you have registered. So because some of them used to have 2-3 mail IDs, you please ensure that you check with the registered mail ID. And thank you all, and thank you for your support. And we'll wind up for the FTP. And thank you for the other state participants. So we had around more than 10 to 12 other state participants. So thanks for the interest shown towards the FTP. And thanks to the Tagore management, Tagore team, and to the technical coordinator, Prasanna. And thanks to all. Thank you.
Thank you all.